we go. Welcome back to episode 18 with your host, Brantt Myhres, on the sober recovery podcast called UnHammered, #UnHammered, that we've been doing here for 18 weeks. It's amazing. I hope you guys all had an awesome week. And I've had some really cool messages that came in during the week, and I don't know, I'm sort of an emotional guy, and when you read some of these things, you're just like, Jesus, it's almost like a mini AA or NA meeting going on. But before we get going, everybody, you got your coffee, tea, whatever it is that you're drinking, or maybe you're not drinking, maybe you're just, I don't know, listening or watching. Cheers, everybody, to week 18. Oh, so I added a little. Tim Hortons has this vanilla powder. I feel a little guilty doing it because it's pure fucking sugar, right? But it's okay. And I've been adding a little teaspoon of this to my coffee, and it's unbelievable. Did you guys do anything for your sobriety this week? This last 7 days? And if you did, what was it? I went to an AA meeting, and I went to the gym a few times to get a workout in and clear my head, which I like to do. It helps me. And just wondering what you guys did for your recovery, because you sort of, it needs to be in the back of your mind every day, right? It just does. It needs to be in the back of your mind on what am I going to do today, and it doesn't need to be too trivial or too big. But folks, you should do something. So speaking of that. You know what, hey, let's start out with a prayer. And again, if you're just new and you're not on the spirituality trail, no problem. But I'm gonna read a prayer for the day, and we'll put the blue blockers back on here. And here's the prayer, everybody. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may serve others out of gratitude to God. I pray that my work may be a small repayment for his grace so freely given to me. Amen to that. How do you guys relate to that prayer? I do. Again, I as I've mentioned prior, I don't really take credit for being sober today. That's all God's work. And what I choose to call God is what I choose to call God. But anyways, do any of you relate with the prayer? And then, a segue or tying into that, have you guys done anything nice for someone in the last week? Have you gotten out of yourself? Because addicts and alcoholics are fucking selfish people in general. We are. We think about ourselves. Usually other people come after our addiction. It just does. I wonder if any of you guys just sort of did something out of the goodness of your heart. I'm trying to think what I've done in the last week that was nice for somebody. I was in lineup, and I asked what the lady behind me got. I think it was $8.50. It was a latte at Starbucks. And I said, I'll buy it for her. So that was something nice. What else have I done? I've written back all of the people that have written in, and I don't know if you call that nice, but that's just my responsibility, and because somebody did it for me. What else? I think taking care of my boy, taking care of Kaner. That's just expected, obviously, but again, I think whenever you're doing stuff to get out of you, and stop thinking about you and start thinking about somebody else, your life will improve. I promise. It just will. But yes, as addicts and alcoholics, especially active ones, we were just so self-centered with me. And not me. Let's read some messages. There was a banger here that I read. Where is it? So this guy's name is Ryan S. Hey, Brantt, I've been following you since podcast number 4. Cool. Which coincidentally was my 4th day of sobriety. What? Come on, Ryan. It was meant to be. I am now at 13 weeks and counting. Man, trying to find that strength every day. Enjoyed the book Painkiller. Listen to it audio version. Ryan, congrats to you, buddy. That's really cool, man. Like podcast 4, and it was your 4th day of sobriety. Wow, that's awesome. Here's a gentleman. He's got a question for me today. I've got a question for you, Brantt. Which step was the hardest for you, and which one was the easiest? Are the steps the same for AA and NA? Yeah, man, of course. I don't know. Again, my opinion. I think that whoever wrote those books were they were coinciding with each other. And which step was the hardest? One. Fuck. I think 5 treatment centers will prove that to you, that one was the hardest for me, admitting that I was powerless over drugs and alcohol and that my life was unmanageable. That was step 1. And I completed half of it, for a few years, sometimes had the hard part with the unmanageability because I had lots of money in the bank, right? And a relatively new car in the garage. But I got there. And which was the easiest? I really don't know if you can rate these things, the steps. I think the one that may be the easiest would have been step 9, where you made direct amends wherever possible, except to do so would injure them or others. I didn't have a problem with that. Because when I did the work on Brantt, I realized just how many people I fucked over. And I'm a good spirited guy, good human. And that's not me. That's not me. So when I had to make amends to people, that wasn't that hard. What was hard was the rejection. The rejection was hard of not maybe getting the response you'd hope for, especially with a couple ex-girlfriends that fucking hated my guts. Don't blame them. Till this day, whatever. I'm obviously a changed man, and I really regret the way that I treated some of my girlfriends when I was growing up, in my teenage years, in my early 20s. But I'm 50, so times have changed, and I've changed. What's the next one? If Kane wants to play hockey, what do you think about that? Well, the game is just so much different today. What's your name here, bud? We got Lee. The game's so much differently. I think that with whatever Kaner wants to do, Daddy's going to be supportive, just like any other parent out there. Obviously I have a little bit more knowledge in the hockey area for Kane if he wants to go down that path. But if Kaner wants to grab a guitar or grab some paint and be an artist or fix machines, or I don't know, whatever puts a smile on my son's face and he says, Daddy, this really makes me happy, that's what I'm going to support. If he gets into hockey, come on guys, there's no fighting anymore. Let's get fucking honest about that. Once they implemented visors in hockey, it was over, man. It was over. Guys like me were phased out, and they took out the I don't like to be called an enforcer. I don't like to be called a tough guy. I wish they would have maybe used like a protector. The protector of the group, the protector of the family. That's what I like to be known as. Not a goon or anything like that, but I'm sure you guys will write in and tell me what your analogy of a hockey fighter is. But again, when I played, man, we had 2 to 3 fucking guys ready to roll every night. And there was no visors, there was no grabbing on and back and forth and turn your head. It was, let me see your chin and you can see mine. And then let's see who can fucking take the hardest punch. And that's how it was in the 90s. Anybody that watched that game knew that anytime on a weekend, on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, or whatever day it was, things could explode. And if you fucked around with the best player, you were going to pay a price. And we policed ourselves. So if Kane wants to play, all the power to him. Well, whatever my boy wants to do, I'll be there for him. This guy wrote in, he's on day 94. cool, man. This sort of, sorry if I didn't mean to laugh, but when I talked about the finances, I can relate on finances. I am a credit manager with shit credit, ! What? Another thing to sweep on my side of the sidewalk. I took my 3-month chip. Good for you, buddy. I am now struggling to get back to work because of I won't mention the guy's name, but anyways, a criminal record and DUI, fighting drunk. I have been very fortunate in the past, but this time I feel I've waited too long. Here's what I like. Ready, you guys? I'm trying to replace fear with faith, but faith doesn't pay the bills and I'm starting to get concerned. One thing that I am proud of is that I am another 24 hours. So guys, let's chat about that sentence that he said. I'm trying to replace fear with faith. That's what faith is, everybody. It's that you can't see what the future is going to be. And we talk about it on this podcast about the 12 traditions in step 3 and came to believe in a power greater than oneself and spirituality and all this kind of stuff. And for me personally, I don't know I had it. Even when I was just so down and out and my God, I mentioned again, living on a couch and driving my dad's old Jeep and negative bank account and blew millions of dollars and all this stuff. When I finally got on my knees and I surrendered, I was gifted a little bit of faith to not give up. Brantt, don't give up. And what do you know? As soon as I got off my knees from praying, and a sincere prayer this time, it wasn't, please get me out of this, get me out of that. I will never do it again. It was, no, I need help. I'm going to die. And God, I need a hand out here. And when I did that, I was gifted with a little bit of faith. And then that little bit of faith was just get through the day because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. And then my sobriety, was an interesting term because it took me a little while to get on my feet. It was over 2 years, you guys. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't like the next week. So hopefully you get gifted with a little bit of faith. Here's a gentleman. Ryan M. Do you think that if you weren't in the NHL, alcohol and drugs would have been a struggle? Yeah. Yeah. I would have been in jail, man. I would have been locked up. I mean, the way that I partied, I just, no matter whether I was, and I proved it to myself when I got out, when I was working for Mini Cooper on the used Mini Cooper side. I was snorting rails in the bathroom. I got fired after 3 weeks. I mean, I got fired from Audi. Like, I couldn't hold down a job, and that would have been no different than if I wasn't playing hockey. I think that I would have probably overdosed and died. I would have never been able to go to all those treatments that I went to. So Ryan, I really don't think it would be any different. I got bit with the bug of addiction, and it got me, and it got some of my family members. So I don't know how else to explain it. But okay, guys, here we go. We're getting there. I know you're like, geez, Brantt, we're still on more about alcoholism and drug addiction. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty important. I know, page 37. All right, here we go. So we talked about Jimbo. Remember Jimbo put whiskey in his milk and thought it wouldn't hurt him? It did. So here we go. We'll finish off page here. You may think this is an extreme case. To us, it is not far-fetched, for this kind of thinking has been characteristic of every single one of us. We sometimes reflected more than Jim did upon the consequences, but there was always a curious mental phenomenon, the parallel with our sound reasoning. There inevitably ran some insanely trivial excuse for taking the first drink or drug. Our sound reasoning failed to hold us in check. The insane idea won out. Jeez, man. Next day, we would ask ourselves in all earnestness and sincerity, how could it have happened? Have you guys ever had that? where you asked yourself, how the hell did that happen again? How did I get in this circumstance? In some circumstances, we have gone out deliberately to get drunk, feeling ourselves justified by nervousness, anger, worry, depression, jealousy, or the like. All these emotions. But even in this type of beginning, we are obliged to admit that our justification for a spree was insanely insufficient in the light of what always happened. You notice how they use the word always? That's like, is that 100%? Seems like it. We now see that we began to drink deliberately instead of casually. There was little serious or effective thought during the period of premeditation of what the terrific consequences might be. Yeah, I know, $1.5 million, playing in front of 20,000 people, flying on private jets, playing on TV. You're right. I didn't give a fuck about the consequences. Our behavior is as absurd and incomprehensible with respect to the first drink or drug that as an individual with a passion for, say, jaywalking, he gets a thrill out of skipping in front of fast-moving vehicles. He enjoys himself for a few years in spite of friendly warnings. Up to this point, you would label him a foolish chap having queer ideas of fun. Luck then deserts him, and he is slightly injured several times in succession. You would expect him, if he were normal, we talk about normies, to cut it out. Presently, he is hit again, and this time he has a fractured skull. Within a week after leaving the hospital, a fast-moving trolley car breaks his arm. He tells you he has decided to stop jaywalking for good, but in a few weeks, he breaks both legs. On through the years, this conduct continues, accompanied by a continual promise to be careful or to keep off the streets altogether. Finally, he can do no longer. His wife gets a divorce. He is held up to ridicule. He tries every known means to get the jaywalking idea out of his head. He shuts himself up in the asylum, hoping to mend his ways, but the day he comes out, he races in front of a fire engine, which breaks his back. Such a man would be crazy, wouldn't he? ? Oh, yeah. Okay. You may think our illustration is too ridiculous, but is it? ? We, who have been through the ringer, have to admit if we substituted alcohol or drugs for jaywalking, the illustration would fit us exactly. However intelligent we may have been in other aspects, where alcohol or drugs have been involved, we have been strangely insane. This is what they say here. Is it strong language? But isn't it true? ? I love it. Some of you are thinking, yes, but what you tell us is true, but it doesn't fully apply. We admit we have some of these symptoms, but we have not gone to the extremes your fellows did. But we have not gone to the extremes your fellows did, nor are we likely to, for we understand ourselves so well after what you have told us that such things cannot happen again. We have not lost everything in life through drinking or drugging, and we certainly do not intend to. Thanks for the information. Man, yeah, I don't know, you guys relating? Okay, we got one more paragraph. That may be true of a certain non-alcoholic or drug addict, though drinking or drugging foolishly and heavily at the present time are able to stop or moderate because their brains and bodies have not been damaged as ours were. This is interesting. We'll end it here. But the actual or potential alcoholic or drug addict, with hardly an exception, will be, and they capitalize this sort of, I don't know how it's done, but they want me to know that this means something. Here we go. With hardly an exception, will be absolutely unable to stop drinking or drugging on the basis of self-knowledge. This is a point we wish to emphasize and re-emphasize, to smash home upon our alcoholic and drug addict readers, that this has been revealed to us out of bitter experience. Wow. Ooh, that was a good one. How many more pages we got on that? Oh, we got a couple, you guys. Maybe we'll bang it out next week. So we got to those. And oh yeah, what do I got coming up? Sweating thinking about it. A dentist appointment. I don't like dentists. I've sat in the chair so many times. And I got a tooth here. It's a filling that needs to be fixed. And I'm not feeling too good about it. I don't, I've had so much work done again that I don't know what's going on in my brain, but it's this fear, anxiety that I'm not going to make it through the dentist appointment on Monday. So can you guys say, I'm sure I'll make it back. It's just some freezing, isn't it? It's just removing a filling, isn't it? I had a bad experience. I did. Calgary dentist. And the dentist took, I don't know what he did, but my fucking lights went out. My lights went out and it felt like a lightning bolt went right down my face. And then the next visit I passed out. So yeah, I don't know what it is about a dentist. I was able to punch guys in the face, see blood squirting everywhere, get my teeth knocked out, but for some reason I'm scared of the dentist. But you know what? I think when I'm in that chair on Monday morning, you guys, I'm going to think about you. I'm going to think about you and say, I need to get back here and record. I need to do episode 19. And you can't pass out. You can't die. So wish me luck. What do you guys do for sober self-care in recovery? That's sort of important. I don't know, when it comes to self-care, I think there's some things like making sure that your surroundings are clean, that your hygiene is good. Examples, car. I don't let my car get dirty. I don't let my bedroom get dirty. And I know when depression is creeping up in Brantt Myhres' life, because I'll tell you how. You want to know how? My dishes start to pile up in the sink. And that's when I know, after a day or a day and a half, 2 days, if I haven't washed those dishes, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling off. So self-care for me is making sure that my surroundings are clean and making sure that I'm taking care of my body. That's working out 3-4 times a week at least. And what else for self-care? Getting good sleep. I like to jump in bed early and watch some poker before bed. And so getting good sleep, making sure my surroundings are clean, and going to the gym. Those are things I do for sober self-care. How about you? Write in and tell me. All right. What else? Sober. I wanted to chat about sober but not boring. So, do you guys find sobriety boring? There were moments in my sobriety that I thought were boring. I won't lie, and it wasn't really boring. It was just part of the process. It was part of the acceptance process that I had to do. But I find that things in my life now, when I'm doing certain things or certain events, like when I went down to Idaho and I filmed that thing with Sheldon, I had such a fun day. It was a fun couple days, actually. I had to leave early, but anyways, it was a fun couple days. And not once did me and him think about drinking or drugging. And we were laughing our heads off, smoking cigars. You guys, if you're early on, just give this thing a chance and hang out with somebody, if you can, that's sober that you like. That's a big one. Get somebody that you like that's sober, and hang on tight if you can. I don't know if you meet them in the rooms or what it may be, an old friend that got sober as well. But yeah, that's a big one. I went out to the lake and went quadding and all that good stuff, and cooked some meals and hung out with my kid and did all that stuff. And again, it never crossed my mind. It's a different type of fun. I think you'll all admit that, right? It's a type of fun where, I could start to do a rail of coke at 7 at night. And then the fun would last till about, when did that fucking thing start wearing off? 1 o'clock. When I started to come down, the Titanic was coming down. When you're having to do a line now every 10 minutes and your nose is so stuffed you can't get any coke in there. So yeah, the Titanic comes down at 1 o'clock for me. And so I thought that I was having fun from 7 till 1 until the ship sank. But I didn't talk about anything. When you're doing blow, you just make up stories and lie. Like, I think I said I was an actor and I was a fucking stuntman, and I had all these wild stories when I was doing blow, and none of them were true. When I was talking to buddies, I'm like, dude, are you saying that? Like, you're not a stuntman, man. Like, what the fuck? But when you'd be so high, you just think you were. And yeah, I thought I was an actor. I was Leo or, any of these guys. But I wasn't. I was a fucking suspended NHL hockey player is what I was. So no, it's not. It has its moments where it seems boring, but it's not boring. You get into acceptance of your path of sobriety. And sometimes it's going to be going to bed at night alone, and I did that for a long time. Okay, so I wanted to read just a little bit about, remember we were talking about step 3, and this is a little bit of the spiritual side of the program of NA and AA. To every worldly and practical-minded beginner, this step looks hard, even impossible. So if you guys know what the step is, step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him, okay? No matter how much one wishes to try, exactly how can he or she turn his own will or her will and their life over the care of whatever God he or she thinks is? Fortunately, we who have tried it and with equal misgivings can testify that anyone at all can begin to do it. We can further add that a beginning, even the smallest, is all that is needed. So a beginning, they're talking about back to willingness and just having a beginning, right? Excuse me. We've got a key coming up here. Once we have placed the key of willingness in the lock and have the door ever slightly so open, we find that we can always open it some more. Yeah, needs to be cracked though, you guys. Though self-will may slam it shut again, as it frequently does, it will always respond the moment we again pick up the key of willingness. Did you guys find that was just like as crucial as anything? Being willing to take direction. Be willing to know that you don't know it all, that you're not the Einstein of addiction. That was the hard one for me, is that I didn't know it all, and my way didn't work ever until I got sober. And so this willingness thing is, and I've seen it with some friends that go to treatment. All they say is, I'm willing to get better. And I said, fucking go right now. Go. You're willing? Yeah. Get on a plane and go. So anyways, that's what I was saying, that willingness is important. Okay. So, we haven't talked really about, stage 4. Nobody in the NHL was in stage 4 and made it back. And after that, stage 3 comes stage 4. It just does. 2, 3, 4. And stage 3 was 6 months suspension. Excuse me. And I had to get reinstated by Gary Bettman. Excuse me. So let's talk about stage 4 and what stage 4 was. So how stage 4 worked was this. So stage 4 is a full year suspension from the National Hockey League, and you have to write a letter to Mr. Gary Bettman to get reinstated. And at that time, nobody was ever reinstated from stage 4. So I have this party at my house in Sylvan Lake, and there's this girl that's there, and we're in my room and we're doing, she's doing coke all night. And she's begging me to chop up a line and do it. And I said, sweetheart, I don't feel like doing any drugs tonight. And the reason for that was that I knew that I was getting urine tested by the NHL the next morning, and I was not going to do any drugs. I did not want to get suspended. And so I was just dead set on telling this woman, no, I'm good. I'm just going to, sit and drink my water tonight. So anyways, the night goes on, and as I'm looking at this girl, she's getting more frustrated with me that I'm not doing the cocaine with her. And I'm thinking, well, a way for me to like get on in her good books is to maybe do a line. So I said, give me that plate. So I grabbed that plate of cocaine and I grab my Visa or whatever, and I take where the lines of cocaine are, and I pretend that I'm chopping one up, and I take the whatever $5 bill and I roll it up. I said, here, give me that thing. I'll do one for you. So I bend down and I pretend to snort a line of cocaine. Okay. I said, here, you happy? I give her the plate back. And she says, yeah. So anyways, we go on partying the rest of the night, and the urine tester shows up in the morning and my doorbell rings, and I'm like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, good. I said, you got that cup? He's like, yeah. I said, here, I'm ready to go. He goes, great. This is going to be quick. So I go into the bathroom, not thinking anything of it. I didn't do any drugs. I pretended to snort a line of cocaine, and I piss in the cup, and I give him the cup. And 3 days later, I get a call from the NHL substance abuse doctor saying, meet us in Calgary for breakfast. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. So as I'm driving to Calgary, I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Like, I didn't do any drugs. Nothing in my system. What's up with this meeting? So, excuse me, I get to the hotel and I sit down at Starbucks, and they go, Brantt, we'll cut to the chase. You had cocaine in your system. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? They said, well, tests don't lie, and you had traces of cocaine in your urine again, Brantt. And I said, oh my God. I said, guys, I didn't do any coke. I said, but I'll tell you what I did. And they go, okay, tell us. I said, okay, I had this girl over. She was in my room, and she was begging me to do doing a line of coke. I said, so what I did is I grabbed the plate and I pushed the cocaine aside. I grabbed the bill and I pretended to snort it. And they said, wait, Brantt, you pretended to snort a line of cocaine? And I said, yes, I swear to God, guys, this is the truth this time. I'm not lying. I pretended to snort the coke. And they looked at each other and they said, this guy's insane. Stage 4, bang, you're done. I think they wanted to take me to a sane asylum. They go like, when have you ever pretended to do drugs, Brantt? Never. And that was stage 4, and that was a full year suspension. And nobody ever made it back from that. So I ended up, where did I go for that one? Stage 4. Man, oh man. I can't remember. That was a full year. Yeah, I'll remember it. I'll have to go back in the book, I guess, and read it. Because there was, quite a few of them. But anyways, wild story. The one time that I did not want to do drugs, and the one time that I didn't want to do drugs, I get caught for them. There was traces of cocaine in the bill when I pretended to snort it, snorted from the side. There was traces of it. So that's how I got caught. And again, the one time that I tried to be good, I get busted and, get put into stage 4 of the substance abuse program. But anyways, these are just stories that I wrote about. And you guys have an amazing week. Hang on for week 19, and I'm going to make a commitment to get out of that dentist chair and make it back for you guys for week 19. Whether I pass out or get another lightning bolt, I'm coming back. I'm going to record. And let's all stay unhammered. #unhammered. And you guys have an awesome 7 days. And I can't wait to check in with you with the new filling next week. All right, you guys take care. Thanks.